Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. Dictatorship, and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4, the New Order as Mexico. Now, last time we were here, we said adios to Senor Lopez Mateos and bienvenidos to Mr. Madrazo. Mr. Carlos Alberto Madrazo. We're still dealing with these strikes as of right now, but we're hoping to get that figured out. Meanwhile, a commenter, I should probably pull up who that was. They pointed out that if I click this, there is more stuff to read. Look at that. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the comments real quick. That was from, Palmer Guy. 1835. So thank you, Palmer Guy, for pointing this out to me. So this helps give us a little bit of an idea of what we need to look at. So the Omri interns union has not issued a warning, failing to target radicalism. For its union will give a warning, pushing us close to a brutal crackdown. The Omri are formed only of university students and interns without a stable income to support themselves. They, in this strike, will burn out soon. Meanwhile, the few doctors that strike against us do not need to be attended to. Let them scream and stomp. They will not change our minds. While some doctors stand at with their intern colleagues, most are content with their high-paying, prestigious careers. They will cause us no trouble. Well, let's hope, huh? Meanwhile, let's go ahead and look out for the rats. The politician that has no enemies is the one that doesn't stand for anything. In the battlefield of selfish interest and malicious complacency, ours is a banner to reform and renew the pre-Mexico to the true potential of the revolution. And we're beset by opportunists, outsiders looking to see any flaw in our defense, and reactionaries within the pre itself, desiring return to complacency and rot. Our success in handling the immediate crisis might have left them without footing, but it won't be long before they organize and hatch under a new plan, under the element of surprise and anonymity within our party. We can't stop their future attack, but we can very well single out who will be a future thorn in our path. Easy enough. Let's do some mild concessions. Get some condemnation from our main unions. I can't do too much there. Do we get a different? Oh, we did get little, different things. That's interesting. I like it. Go ahead and do southern industrialization in the Yucatan. And then we could manufacture. Sponsor manufacturing clusters somewhere about. Let's do it in the west, I think. Oh, we can't do that in the west, actually. Hold on. Let's do it there, then, in the northwest. Could uplift some isolated communities as well. Interesting. We got a lot of options here. Okay. Let's do that in the northeast. Because That's gonna knock down our unemployment to where it needs to be. Oh, we'll just leave that for now, I think. Mr. Ambassador, I have some questions for you. Ambassador of Mexico and the United States of America Ordaz had barely stepped out of the Department of State building in D.C. with his entourage before reporters accosted him. Casual mob blasted him with noise and light with utmost confidence. Do you care to make an official response about the ongoing medical intern strike in Mexico? Good morning, gentlemen. Lively as always, I see. Like all experienced politicians, Ordaz has plenty of experience with journalists, but he was continuously surprised by the American press's independence and persistence. Whenever crossing the line of political decency, the Yankees were far more brazen than their Mexican counterparts. They would not give up until he gave them an answer befitting an albeit distant member of the Madrazo administration. The medical good terms you speak of are only one part of a complex economy. Their demands and tactics endanger the working people of my country. Their responsibility threatens the vital healthcare system they are supposed to support. Truthfully, Ordaz's throat tightened with a mixture of frustration and duty. He despised Madrazo's willingness to appease the interns and his eagerness to bend to the Pre's labor policies to accommodate their demands. He wanted to speak his mind, but the memory of his actions during the Aleutian crisis and its consequences held him back. That's why he was in D.C., after all. Ordaz loosened his tie and breathed with a strained sigh. Truthfully, I have full faith that President Madrazo will conduct successful negotiations with healthcare professionals without further escalation. A couple of cameras flashes and other diplomatic platitudes later, the journalistic crowd dissipated. Their notepads contained quotes for their editors, and their cameras housed images of the ambassador's unphotogenic face, which were destined at best for the back page of tomorrow's paper. Best not to think about what would happen if he was president. Friction is expected between the revolutionary and the gringos. American coercion will rise slightly. Okay, so we have a second strike going. Oh, Jesus. Dirección Federal de Seguridad issued mean walkouts and resignation by professional doctors, formation of authorized medical union AMM. The Medical Society of General Hospitals of Mexico has joined with 21 others in the federal district and 11 other states in an independent union referred to as the Mexican Medical Alliance, or AMN. Composed of thousands of doctors, including former hospital directors, AMM has declared a strike in solidarity with the illegal AMRI Union of Medical Students and Interns. AMRI has announced it will be joining the AMM. In my evaluation, while the interns are generally eager to collaborate with the doctors, their leadership appears wary of losing autonomy. Both organizations demand the rehiring of fired doctors and interns, increased pay, and have provided a list of hospital-specific demands. See attached. DFS personnel will continue to coordinate with CNO medical bodies and to identify and publicize AMM and AMRI members. Various CTM unions, though not medical in nature, have also offered to support the resolution of this labor dispute through public and private pressure. Nevertheless, the sudden loss of AMM's experienced medical personnel has greatly exacerbated the strain caused by the AMRI's strikes. Both IMSS and ISSSTE hospitals are reporting extensive wait lists for all non-urgent treatment, as well as an inability to perform discrete items of urgent care. The situation is expected to deteriorate further as backlogs build into the coming days. Respectfully, Captain Luis de Barreda Moreno. Forward immediately to the President. Damn it. Oh, Jesus. Alright, let's get to for the internal revolution. Dust is settled from our immediate crisis, and a tranquil silence has settled upon our cabinet. Our opposition has retired attached to their plans, and the people have returned to their day-to-day routines. Hopeful that perhaps the next day the burden will be a bit easier. In this fleeting peace, we have finally drawn our plan to see that the modern revolutionary flame, so cold and fickle, is steadily stoked and becoming burning, uncontrollable inferno that was 30 years ago. And who better to present this to the nation than Madrazo, the Cyclone Tabasco himself? This speech must not only be a promise, a commitment to get rid of the stagnancy that drains our potential, but a declaration of war on those who would see us fall. After all, this is the calm before the storm. Alright, let's do Do some mobilization. So we need to get radicals into... Crickets chirped in the tall grass, the moonlight glare casting its accusatory beam on both Governor Solis of Sinaloa and his Sonoran counterpart, Luis Encinas Johnson. They were both unaccompanied, save for the two separate cars they had driven to lay by in. Johnson was on edge, fidgeting his hands, kicking around dust plumes that swept away in the black of night. For his trouble, Solis leaned coolly against the hood of his russet Lincoln Continental to fashion himself a cigarette. He tilted his head to ask Johnson if he wanted one, to his refusal. Now's not the time, Senor Solis. When is he coming? Solis consulted his watch and shrugged. Any minute now. Dimmed headlights came into view from behind the tall grass. Johnson cradled his brow as the beams shined into his eyes, with Solis puffing and billowing smoke in the darkness, unaffected. A short, wiry man stepped out from his modest car and stepped carefully towards the two governors. His eyes were large, brooding, carrying years of paranoia and caution with a pair of otherwise unremarkable irises. Were you followed? Johnson asked, gripping his lapels. The man shook his head. I checked. Is the deal still on? Solis by this stage had grown bored of his cigarette and let it fly into the dirt road to extinguish. I've already paid for our services, senor. No intention of playing hard and fast with your money. Those Japanese goods of yours will come into port every month. Your men will take them. They will go across the border. The rest will be up to you. President Madrazo won't interfere? Johnson nodded subtly, seconding the smuggler's question with bated breath. Solis simply laughed. In Sinaloa, I am the president. Unemployment, poverty. It's a little ironic that the Southeast is struggling the most with unemployment. We can't really do too much because we just gotta have a debt crisis. But oh well. I'm getting another economic check coming up. Okay, this is usual GDP growth we got, poverty we got, GDP per capita, economic productivity we did not get. Factor went down, unemployment also went up. Well, because of our solid performance, Mexico maintains its stability. There we go. Camera flashes bounce around the walls of the hallway outside the room, though the near soundproof office reduces them to a fleeting distraction from the meeting inside the Palacio Nacional. So, to summarize, Conference Madrazo organizes the papers in front of him as he concludes the negotiations with the AMM representatives. We're on the same page regarding many of your issues. Wages, graduate conditions, the AMM reps perk up, nearly forgetting the last issue at end. All except the issue of independence. The AMM reps look at each other intently, as if knowing this may be their only chance to achieve concessions when the leader speaks up. We understand this notion, of course. We may be amenable to integration under the state purview, on the condition that all of our demands are met first. Madrazo takes his time to respond. Despite what the media may say, he respects everyone in the room. He has not yet wished to burn the bridge. Your men surely understand the problem I have with this, no? While the organization may hold good intentions, I cannot be so sure that such a precedent won't be abused by more opportunistic men. The AMM men take one more glance at each other before nodding affirmatively. We stand firm in our position, Your Excellency. Madrazo bites his lip, looking at the blank spot on the wall, as though it was Lopez Mateos. What should he do? I shall pass the word down to see that your benefits are granted. Let's try to convince him. We'll set up we'll tolerate some labor discourse. Set up a direct line. The rain wouldn't stop, water leaking through the tents where most of the RIs huddled. From their coats to their shoes, they were soaked through. But Cesar didn't stop working, stationed watch over the main entryway of the camp. He couldn't stop because of a simple rain. Taking notes and making some phone calls, nothing seemed out of the ordinary to him. As he was preparing to do a walkabout, he could hear some voices outside, one of them asking to talk to him. "Please, sir, come in." The voices stopped and a single man entered, wearing a suit with a single Mexican flag pin attached. "Mr. Cesar, I'm from the SSA. I believe this might be of your interest." He handed him a single piece of laminated paper with a secretary's signature. "It's his phone number. I wish to establish line contact with you. I believe you should give us one as well." Grabbing a piece of paper from his notebook, Caesar merely wrote out Omri, 33, 177, 289, 32, and gave it to the man in black. "Thank you, Mr. Cesar. I hope that someone can be near this phone at all times." As quickly as he entered, the messenger from secretary left. The intern tried to understand what happened, but before he could, the phone started ringing. It could be the secretary. He had just given him the phone number. Picking up the phone, he heard a familiar voice. "Cesar, it was America. I was contacted with him. Some strange man from the SSA came to our headquarters and gave us the number of his secretary. The government will be heard." Alright, let's do a little bit of intimidation. Let's also try to make the government unions listen. Oh, Jesus, a significant decrease. Well, what's it at now? Well, it's pretty high already. Let me check what this is now. The union has not issued a warning. Let's start with meeting with the union leadership now. Some mild concessions. Alright, what do we want to do next? Let's work on the rusted grip of poverty. Since the days of tyrants like Porfirio Diaz, the Mexican farmer and peasants have been the victims of absurd imbalances of wealth and inequality, trapped in the endless and inescapable poverty while the rich hoarded their ill-begotten treasure. Thanks to revolution in the PRI, we've made great strides, but many of our lower-class citizens still live in crushing poverty and insecurity. It's time we did something about it. President Madrazo has made his stance clear. The ultimate goal of his tenure should be to resolve the unfairness once and for all. The grip of poverty is firm like iron, but it has become rusty, and in one way or another, it will shatter. Click, click. A small pebble echoed as Rodrigo kicked it down the Guadalajaran alleyway, channeling his woes into the rock as it rolled to a stop. It was one day. I believe military duty has thus far been spent smiting urban sediment, and he recites his drill sergeant's words to his mind every time. "It's not how you clean a damn gun, brown boy. Why don't you forget? What don't you forget?" He kicks it harder, picking up the pace to try to keep up. "You city dwellers are weak stock, you know." He spent nearly sends the pebble into a pedestrian, snapping him out of his spiral. He had completely lost track of where he was going. "Excuse me, sir. Where's the bar?" His day drinking aspirations were cut short, and the roaring boom of the president's voice came from the building next door. Rodrigo approaches, and laughter of the working youth like him welcomes him into the circle. A listening party for the president's speech. "You look lost, friend. Come and join us." He's about to speak. His Inside the circle, an energy radiated as warm as fire and as the patriotic words flew out of Madrazo's mouth. With new vigor, we'll attack our problems from their core. Corruption, neglect of the working man. The revolution is not over. People. And it will not be until this is done. Rodrigo could not help but cheer along with his new friends in the bar at the end of such a speech, and made him know where to find them in the future. His itch for camaraderie is scratched. Alright, let's make the government unions listen. The AMM is splitting the labor movement, Your Excellency. All they do is create chaos. They're weakening the power of a CNO by dividing workers against one another in some shallow imitation of a civil war. The doctor, or boss of the state medical unit FSTSE, was uncharacteristically angry, even hitting the table slightly in the sort of way that would get him arrested if he was talking to a patient and not his own head of state. Drazo nodded. Well, that is an inaccurate way to describe it. Not inaccurate? I should think not. What do you plan to actually do about it, Your Excellency? The doctor had clearly been hoping for something else. Had it been Ordaz when Madrazo was at the moment, he might have gotten it, but Madrazo had another plan. You need to respect the picket lines, Doctor. If you and I do anything to antagonize them, all we'll do is hand more ammunition to the anarchists. It was as if a mask fell off the doctor's face and smashed into the ground before Madrazo's eyes. The man behind the mask was visibly struggling to maintain his composure, which was made clear when he began to spout contradictory-sounding rhetoric. Antagonize them, sir? What about antagonizing the loyal unions in this country, the ones that aren't communist in the pay of America? Those atheistic religious fanatics of the AM should succeed. The PRE will never have the support of labor again. Then will you be, Your Excellency? Madrazo resisted the urge to scoff. His reply was as follows. Your needs will be met, Doctor. Stay calm. Okay, so let's get intern radicalization done. Let's do strategic firings and blacklistings. The signature was in blue ink. The indecipherable scrawl proclaimed that the hospital director had once been a doctor. Then this record had graced thousands of prescriptions and thousands of records, now spreading far and wide throughout Durango. Now it spread fear and hate. It was a fixture short note typed in black, bold letters. The Yamri interns had compared theirs and seen the messages were exactly the same. A boilerplate response composed of NCNUP, or better yet, the Secretariat of Health and Welfare. It told them that they had broken the law by joining an unrecognized union, that their rash actions endangered the public health, and that their educational grant had been immediately revoked, that they received no stipend, no bonus, would be eligible for employment at an ISSTE or IMSS hospital, that they would never become doctors. From director after director, thousands of more signatures flowed. Let's get this stuff going. Dr. Radicalism is slightly over. Okay, we'll do that. Do that. Sure, hospital contracts. Do some mild concessions, meet with leadership. The main Ciudad Universidad campus of UNAM bustles with activity as students and teachers gather in its largest auditorium. Passing beautifully designed buildings and echoing Mexico's past, present, and future, they soon prepare to listen to a guest speaker. Octavio Paz holds an open lecture to the crown jewel of Mexican education to highlight his new role as Undersecretary of Culture. It's an honor to speak to you all today. Octavio Paz stared ardent and earnest, allowing the introductory applause to die down naturally. I may not know all of you personally, and I'm sure most of you have not heard of me until recently, but I am proud of you. He stood firm alongside his podium. His wide eyebrows and swept hair framed the intensity of his face and the authenticity of his claims. I'm proud of you because you are here today. At the university and in this room, you have taken another step to broaden your mind. Paz took a pause. And the silence hang in the air and carry his words. The undersecretary did not hesitate in the grand room, nor did the audience grow uncomfortable with it. He led them into the realm of silence where his true language lived. The education and research you're doing today daily will not only grow into innovation and insight, but into personal self-discovery. Such discovery will someday erode the barriers that separate Mexicans from one another and prevent us from creating one whole community. Pazlo's words be carried to the entirety of the crowd as if propelled only by the power of his lungs. Just look outside the walls of this auditorium, onto the beautiful campus where your minds are being molded. Paz gestured outwards as if the auditorium's walls opened into the space outside. Out there is not just a collection of buildings, but art. Our culture stands tall in every building, every mural, and every open space where students of all backgrounds mix. Here, there is a society of education and self-discovery. I envy you all. I wish to see the beauty of education and fraternity again with your fresh eyes. There can be no society without poetry, so find that poetry. Let your mind be expanded alongside your heart. The students of UNAM are precious and must be protected. Let's protect union meeting places. Some onslaught of liquid bullets assaulted the interns, rushing to make it to their meeting. They were already late, and now, as they avoided tripping, interns halted just after the corner. The rest either crashing or skidding to a stop. Adrian, what the He who halted shushed the complainer, slowly moving his finger to their meeting place. Police. Shit. We need to cancel. Lay low until they think we've gone. But we need an organization if we want to have an effective strike. Well, there won't be a strike if we all get arrested, so why don't you just... Pendejos! Arena man rushed up to them, staring intently into their uniforms, before looking back at the gathering. The rains seemingly not even close to extinguish his balled-up fist and wrinkled face. Right when my son needs you fuckers close up the hospitals and denied us on the day of his surgery. Chinga tu madre, you all! The blue uniformed met and spooked the interns, having seemingly appeared out of nowhere, firmly but carefully nudging the man away. One of them, seemingly the leader, turned around to face the whitecoats. You're all good to go ahead to your meeting. We'll be sweeping up disturbances like him that try to get in from the outside. The small team was disoriented, to say the least. But since they weren't arrested on the spot, one was brave enough to head towards the meeting place, though they'd kept their mouths shut more on the meeting, just to be safe. Okay, so what do we got here? I have a second aftermath. Let's reveal the weapon. The officer tapped the glass of the watch, 3:15. They could hear some sort of disturbance getting closer, so the intel wasn't false, but was much smaller than initially projected. As if on cue, the radios had sounded that the radicals had crossed the ambush line. So he descended onto them with his comrades. Warmly, the sun scorched against the heavily outnumbered protesters in blue-black armored-clad protectors of a state. Yells filled the street, 10 men against 40. If a social disillusionists fought and were crushed for their hubris. The officer grabbed the sickle and hammer in front of him, raised his baton, and striking down with the force of order. The next day, in his breakland, his feet kicked onto the table and his face stuffed the newspaper. The crackdown in his hard work had warranted the front page. Seeing himself in the news with a baton raised was something else, because he saw the officer, the law, not the person behind the armor. It would be clear to any reader that the law was ready and waiting for anyone who dared break it. His eyes darted towards the next section, showing more protesters donned in white, doctors and interns. He glanced back at the front page, then again at the demonstrators. If he was ordered to, he would raise his baton again, strike down on another group of disillusionists. We're a little past time, but I'm going to go ahead and keep going for a little bit more. Oh, that's interesting. If we do this, it actually saves our debt. Although we have plenty of room to operate now in the southeast. We're struggling unemployment-wise. Southeast. A lot of places, actually. Do some state industry down here. There we go. Oh, Jesus, it did drop a fair bit. $30 and $50, Jesus. Okay, we can intimidate some more union members and mobilize the DFS. The rain pattered in slim droplets along the window. Carlos longingly felt his fingers along the glass. The frigid touch of condensation crawling up the boy's spine with a malignant chill. If only he could go outdoors. He wanted to go riding with the horses under the morning heat, his father teaching him how to handle the reins, keeping close eye, showing him how to feed them their little oatcakes. But all Carlos got for his trouble to stay indoors. Pio Quinto Madrazo Lopez was on a business trip and was not home. His mother, Concepcion Becerra, remained at the house, entrusted with the boy's care. She gently ushered him back to the dinner table. The chair Carlos climbed onto made an awful creak, which made Mother put a finger on her lips to hush him. The noise was particularly apparent whenever one moved the chair a certain way, and Carlos usually did this out of boredom, a habit his mother made a point of trying to rebuke during reading lessons. Follow my finger, Carlitos. What does the first sentence say? Benito Juarez. Concepcion nodded, revealing a small, encouraging smile, waiting more. The hero came to the capital. The people rang the bells and came out to the streets. Carlos stopped and pointed to a lone world and took a moment to sound it out. The Imperialists were defeated. His mother slid the book from Carlos's hand and said to listen to her first to see if he could pick up on it better. Benito Juarez, the hero, came to the capital. The people rang the bells and came out to the streets. The Imperialists were defeated, and... What's that word? Justice, Carlitos. Alright, workers, we're getting there, back there, loyalty-wise. We got a bit of a choice here. Do education or poverty. I think our poverty rate is coming down pretty nicely as is. Yeah, I'm not too worried about it. So is our education, but I would really like to, I think if we improve our education, it'll come naturally. So let's do, after 3, it's too late. Crucial to developing a more modern, equal society is the education of young generations, and as famed CEO and philanthropist Masuro Ibuka put it, children are capable of incredible learning and growth from a tender age. If we want what is best for them, then kindergarten is too late. As such, the President has laid out the groundwork for educating our newest generation, both at home and in school, and with it we can ensure a more prosperous future. Now that is what I am talking about. I'll check how we're doing with this other GUI real quick. Yeah. It's coming along pretty well. Now I'm going to go ahead and leave things there, but thank you so much for watching, my friends. Like, so if you like, if not, feel free to dislike. If you have any more comments or feedback, leave in the comment section below. I read all the comments I get, and I do appreciate any feedback you might have for me. Check out my various links down in the description box below. Leave me comments, feedback down in the comment section below as well. I read all of them that I get, and I appreciate any and all feedback you might have for me. Hit the sub button and notification bell to keep updated with these uploads weekdays as well as occasionally Saturdays when they come out. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and leave things there, but thanks always for watching, gang. I think my name has been Mr. Dogbot333, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye now.